All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So it's good to have you all here on this beautiful sunny day, actually. It's not super warm, but it's a beautiful day for sure. It's good to have you all here for another lecture. Today, we're going to be having a lecture by our friend Raphael. But before we start our lecture, as always, we're going to have our initial reading with our friend Davi, and then our initial prayer with our friend Maria Lucia.
A reading from the book Happy Life. If a difficulty emerges to block your path, do not waste time. Go around it. If an unexpected problem threatens your balance, do not be upset. Silence your rebelliousness and try to solve it as best you can. If someone whom you love has changed their behavior toward you or deserted you, stay serene. The rebel and the deserter, which their irrational attitudes have lost their reason. Be calm. What you lose now, you will obtain later. Whatever happens to you, if you know how to deal with it, will always be your future good, for your future good.
Good morning. Let's close our eyes and think of Jesus, our Master, and let His energy of love envelop all of us. And let's ask Him to enlighten us, to guide us during this study, to guide Raphael, so we can learn the message and find the ways to apply it into our lives during this week. We thank the good spirits who are here with us for having us at TSS. And so be it.
Thank you, Maria Lucia. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
What a beautiful day to talk about Spiritism once again. So today I would like to talk about spiritual diseases. And before we talk about the diseases themselves and show that all diseases are spiritual, they all originate on us or from us. I would like to address first the origin, the cause of all this, and the vehicle from which the diseases are exteriorized and created. Thought. So if we look at the book of Genesis, so here, chapter 9, there is one title, one topic that says the union of the spiritual principle and matter. And Kardec, inspired by the spirits, will tell us, before matter could be the object of labor of the spirit for the development of its faculties, it was necessary for the spirit to be able to act upon it. And this is why it came to dwell in it, like a lumberjack dwells in the forest. I find this very interesting, and it makes me think on the last sentence, like a lumberjack in the forest, or the analogy that Kardec uses. And then I find myself thinking of our routine, our lives, and what we do every day, working day by day to maintain life, to maintain things as they are. So it's a we mow the lawn. So it's very, very simple things. So sometimes we find the meaning of life in very simple things if you put your mind into it in that particular moment, if you are in the moment. So this particular season is when everything grows very fast, right? Weeds and grass, and so you have to mow the lawn all the time. And you know the next weekend you're gonna have to do the same thing because the lawn is gonna grow. And the same thing with our bodies. We have to eat all the time. We have to be constantly acquiring a very huge amount of energy just to maintain our bodies. You have to shower, and you know that your body is going to get dirty again, but you have to continue doing it. You are in this. We are in this endless cycle, and then we sleep. It doesn't matter if you sleep 12 hours. You're going to have to sleep again, and again, and again. You have to brush your teeth. This may be something that's completely unrelated to a presentation here in the Spiritism, but it is not. It is not. The meaning of what Kardec said, a lumberjack in the forest, is directly related to all this. In order for us to learn how to use the laws of nature, the laws of God, and to be a labor for it, to help creation, to be useful to these laws, to know these laws enough so that we can act in God's will, we have to learn them. And in order to learn them, we have to be in them. That's why I said we have to be in it. And this is why we see ourselves doing things over and over and over again. It's like the myth of Sisyphus. I don't know if you guys know the myth of Sisyphus. It's a Greek ancient mythology. Sisyphus was a king, and he was not a very good king, so he was punished. And the gods punished him, and his punishment was to push a huge rock uphill every day. And when he got to the end of the hill, the rock would fall back down. And then he would start all over again for eternity. So he was always pushing that rock. And sometimes that feels like our lives. We find ourselves driving or taking the TTC or our bicycle, going to work day after day, and sometimes we do the same things and then we go again. And this is very, it's very amusing. Of course, if you are able to abstract yourself and see yourself doing from the outside, doing it in that cycle, it's all because there is a law of nature that says that things, they have to unite and be homogeneous. So if we have, your house is clean and there's a lot of dirt inside your house, outside your house, there's a law of nature that says that no, the same dirt that is outside has to be inside your house. If you leave it to nature, that dirt is going to be inside your house. And then you have to clean it. And then it's going to come back, whatever way. Your house, if you leave it to itself, your house doesn't get clean. It gets dirtier. That's the law of nature. And you're stuck to that, like Sisyphus. And because we are in this, we have to constantly learn how to maintain our lives. We have to constantly progress. We have to spend energy over and over again to make that process easier. The way we maintain our bodies and our life is today is not the same that we used to do 500 years ago, and it's not the same that we used to do 1,000 years ago. It used to be harder. We used our bodies more. Now we do a little bit less because we learn more about the laws of nature, about the laws of God. And because we know more, we just don't grow intellectually. We also grow morally, we grow spiritually, because we also know how to trust it. We also know how to trust the laws of nature. We know that they will happen, it doesn't matter what. For example, if you take a small wire and you roll it, you make small loops, and you connect to a battery, something is going to happen around that wire. Nobody knows what it is. We have different names, we can calculate it, but something happens. And if you have any metal particle, is going to be attracted by that something that happens. We know how to trust it. We have faith that if we do that mechanism over and over again, the same effect is going to be produced. And that's the same thing for the law of love. We know we learn to trust it. And this is, it happens because we are here. We are inserted in this matter. One day, we won't be needing to be involved in so much matter. But that can only happen when we learn to behave according to the laws of God. But that's not all. We have to learn, and we have to understand the laws and learn how to act on them. And how do we act on nature? Everything starts in our heads, right? So if I want to build a house, I imagine in my head. I imagine what I'm going to do. And then I do everything around it. I cut the wood, I buy nails, I draw a picture, and then I exteriorize. But it happened first in my head. So this, it's all possible because of an organ that is not in our bodies. It's not in matter. It's an organ of the spirit. We call it mind. So this organ, it does the same thing that when you install internet in your house, there's a black box that goes somewhere. And that black box allows you to have internet. So we call them modem. So it's a modulator, demodulator. So it's connected to fiber optics, and then it sends messages and receives messages. So you type something, it's modulated, and it sends through light somewhere. Or there's a message somewhere, comes to you, is demodulated and shows it like a movie. And this is done using light, using this thing that forms around that wire with several loops that we don't know what it is. It's something that is around us. There are several names, but we can modulate it with particular devices, and we send this information up and down. So we do it with our cell phones. So our mind is exactly like that. The mind is in the spirit. So the spirits tell us that the same way that we have this fluid that we use for telecommunications, there's another fluid that actually gives origin to the first, and is called the universal fluid. Whatever it is, we don't know. We cannot detect from through human science. We can't yet. We can only feel it as human beings. We are feeling it right now in this room. We all come here with open hearts. And so we feed each other and we create an atmosphere that is pleasant. It's pleasant. This is just a normal basement, as thousands of other basements in the city. Why is it that when we come here, it makes us feel good? It makes us feel this pleasantness, almost like a satisfaction that runs deep. That's because we feel this fluid. We feel it. We know it's real because it's connecting all of us right now, incarnated and discarnated. I can only present what I'm presenting right now because I'm feeding off the thoughts, the modulations that you guys are sending me. And in the same way, you are absorbing my modulations and we are feeding each other. That's what changes the atmosphere of this basement and it makes special. So we know it exists and we are modulating in the same way that sound uses air. The mind uses this universal fluid. We use the term that the spirits taught us because we actually don't know how else to call it. And when we have and our ideas, our feelings, they are modulated in this universal fluid and they behave like waves and they go. We can condensate, we can agglomerate these waves that we call thoughts, the impressions of the spirit in the reality around it is called thoughts. And we can agglomerate or we can dissociate. So this means that we create our own atmosphere. We create everything that is around us. In the book Genesis, the same chapter, Kardec says that our thoughts are like mirrors. So that whoever can see, so let's say when we lose our material bodies and we are spirits and we are living in this universal fluid, we can see thoughts. So they are matter. They act on matter. So then they have a shape, they have a smell, they have a color. So then they use the term mirror because we're talking about something that was written in the 1860s. So that's what, so if there's something on a wall that can reflect an image, that's a mirror. But we could see right now, in the century that we are, we could say that is more like a screen, a TV screen. So your most secret thoughts are showing in that screen that you carry with you. So there, you can't actually hide it because it's around you. It's everywhere. And now, I said that these thoughts, this mind, this modulation that we are doing, it creates our atmosphere. It creates the reality around us. If these thoughts are unbalanced, what do I mean by unbalanced? They hold some sort of disconnection with natural laws, in a sense of, let's say, rebelliousness. So you are angry about something. Why would you be angry? Things that, as we saw on the Joana de Angelis book, everything that happens to us is for our own good. We are in this matter. We are here right now to learn. And everything that happens to us is a consequence of our own acts. So something that happens to you and makes you upset shouldn't make you upset. If one day, by the way, there's no judgment. I'm not judging anybody. So we all get upset. That's normal. But one day we'll understand that whatever happened, it's another opportunity for us to learn. And that is going to be a balanced thought. It's a thought that it shows complete trust in the natural laws. So, okay, this unbalanced thought that is not, it carries any sort of anger, rebelliousness, revenge, selfishness. Everything that we know is not part of our own nature. Since it acts on the environment, it acts on matter, it will create an unbalanced atmosphere. And that is going to exteriorize, is going to be exteriorized in our body, whether is in our semi-material body that we call the perispirit, or our actual physical body. So that's what we call diseases. Even diseases that are caused by bacteria and viruses, because our thoughts, they create the environment where that virus or that bacteria can procreate. If we are feeling satisfied, or if we have faith and we live in complete trust of God's wisdom, or practically, if we are satisfied with our life and we focus on fulfilling our duties as whatever profession we have, as a family member, as a brother, as a sister, that disease will not have the environment to propagate. This, again, doesn't mean that whoever is sick, it's a person that deserves our judgment. No, because we get sick too. So all that it says is that whatever disease or sickness we have, it's showing us what has to be worked on. It's an exteriorization of yourself. That's what you have inside of you. It's showing you that's what has to be worked. There's no punishment. Nobody's punishing you. It's the opposite. That is God giving you an opportunity to learn about yourself, about your inner thoughts, and to try to find a solution. There is an interesting scene on the book On the Way to a World of Regeneration that was written during the pandemic, and by the spirit Manuel Filomeno de Miranda. And Manuel Filomeno and the mentor of the group, that they were all together studying what was happening during the pandemic. They go to a hospital in Brazil, an ICU, together with the mentor, the supervisor, Spinelli. And they start looking from this spiritual side what was happening with those people that got COVID. And they were seeing that, of course, there were people discarnating in the hospital that didn't know that they were discarnated, and then that they were trying to talk to doctors. So it was a mess. And then they saw several sick people and the differences in the way the disease was spreading. So there were those who were there, and they were blaming the government because it was right before Carnival. So at that time, it was decided that They would not social distance. They would allow carnival to happen and parties to happen. And after that, there was a surge in COVID. Then people who were sick, they were blaming the government for not closing carnival and other things, forgetting that it's their responsibility. They were there. Instead of not just going and participating in that party and staying home, they decided to go, and then they blamed the government. But those who were presenting that sort of behavior, they were getting more sick because the virus was spreading. And then there was one guy that was sick, but he was, I trust that this is for my own good. So that person was not rebellious. It was suffering with the disease, but it was not adding to it with anger. So that person was just understanding and trying to live through it, to do everything that he could to live through that disease without blaming anybody. And that allowed the spirits to actually approach that person and help that person with passes. What we do with passes is that we try to send new sources of thought. As I said, thought is what our imbalanced thought is what creates the diseases. But our mentors, our family members, whoever is in the spiritual world, you can come close and try to push good thoughts into you. It's a dialogue. It has they have a dialogue with us and trying to say, don't be angry, don't be rebellious. This is for your own good. Just calm down, and then we can decide to just shoo them away, just to say, get out of here, or we can accept that and making those thoughts our own and allow those thoughts to circulate through us and fix whatever is broken. That's the mechanism of pass. That's what we're going to do after this lecture. It's nothing but this simple mechanism. You guys sit down. You allow yourselves to receive thoughts that come from incarnate spirits and are manipulated by mentors and sent back to you. And then you absorb that and you make that your own. If you don't want it, if you close your heart completely, then nothing's going to happen, of course. And it's just a person there with the hands on top of your head without doing anything. So it's all about our own thoughts. So this was very interesting, this scene, because it was showing what was happening when this virus was going through the whole globe. And this was a mechanism from the spiritual world to renew our society, to give us an opportunity for a renewal, for us to think and see what's wrong inside of us. And the Spinelli and Emmanuel, they start talking because Emmanuel Flamengo, he has several doubts and he start asking, well, what about this? What about that? And then Spinelli actually explains that with our thoughts, we can create what he called psychic viruses. So we create diseases that are not even seen in our body yet. They are in our perispirit. It's like if we had a bacteria or a virus. They use these terms, bacteria and virus, because our thought can acquire life. And we impregnate ourselves with that. And one of the causes that is I always find that it's a very important thing to remember is useless conversations. So he says that in the book. Actually, we see that throughout the whole Spiritism doctrine, the importance of meetings, the importance of talking to people, the importance of us being all together here, and the purpose of that meeting. So you can understand that if you are with other people sitting together and you guys are gossiping, that's like smoking something. That's like using drugs. It's like you are creating a disease at that moment. At that moment. Because how do we know what these people, those people are thinking, the ones that we are gossiping about? We don't know what's going on in their life, so we have no right to judge them. We have no right to talk bad about them. It's completely useless. There's nothing good that comes out of it. And at the same time, we are exchanging the thoughts circulating through all those who are doing that. So it's amplifying and being absorbed, modulated, demodulated by our minds. So sometimes we look at people that smoke and say, oh, that person is smoking. They don't care about their health. Well, maybe that person doesn't gossip. Which one is worse? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Or you nurture a feeling of revenge, of hard feeling, or someone did something to you that you just can't forget. And you're always thinking about that. That's another disease. That's another viruses that you are creating. Why? Because it's not up to you. It's not according to the natural laws. It's not up to you. Whoever does anything wrong is going to receive that back. You don't have to bother yourself with revenge. There's nothing to do with you. That person is going to receive it back. You don't have to punish the person 2 times. So it's not up to you. So the disease that is created by the feeling of revenge is telling you, forget about it. Forget about it. Once you forget about it, you're going to be healed. Just forget about it. It's not up to you. It's not your job. Your job is to change yourself. As Joanna Gentili says, stop being offended. Stop being offended all the time. All the time, everything that happens to you, you're offended. That's pride. This is just pride. Our physical body, it's carbon-based, right? So we are creatures, and we call that organic chemistry. So the main elements are carbon, nitrogen, oxygen. What's the 4th one? Carbon, nitrogen, oxygen. I forgot.
Hydrogen.
Huh? Hydrogen. Yes. So those are the main atoms that form every living being. Of course, there are others, but those are the main ones. And even those atoms, they are condensation of the universal fluid that is used for thought. And the condensation of those atoms, they form molecules, proteins, cells, and 300 trillion of them form our body. So there's a huge amount of matter to form our bodies. So our bodies to the spirit is like a boulder. So if you have a boulder and you want to push it downhill, like a low angle slope, not so steep, and you push it and you push it and you put a lot of energy into that, and then the boulder finally start moving and accelerating. So the energy of that boulder is directly proportional to its mass and the square of its speed. So if now you want to try to stop it, you have to remove all that energy in order to make it stop. And it's a lot. It's going to squash you. You can't stop it. It's the same thing with our body. You have unbalanced thoughts day after day, week after week, year after year, and your body is feeling it. Your body is feeling it. You go to the doctor and there's nothing wrong with you. But then someday something shows up. Something shows. Your body is finally responding to all those thoughts of irritation, anger, stress, revenge, selfishness. It's responding to that. And now something shows. And now is the time for you to start looking for a cure for that disease. It's not going to be that simple, because now you have to stop the boulder. After spending so long making it run, making it rotate, it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of energy. Still not a punishment. It's just a consequence. It's an opportunity for us to learn. I created this disease. I have to adapt to it, not be angry at it. We will feel angry. We will feel sad. It's not easy. It's frustrating. Sometimes our life changes completely. We cannot do the same things anymore. But the only thing we can do is to adapt to it. And are we allowed to seek for ways to cure? Of course. That's part of our duty. There's nothing wrong in seeking for a way to cure our own disease. No, there's nothing wrong. You have to do everything you can. You go to the doctor, you trust your doctor. Science, or true science, not social media science, but true science, is the study of the laws of God. It's the study of the laws of nature. So you go to your doctor, you do what you have to do. And this is what Joana de Angeli is saying, that whatever happens to you, if you deal with it in the right way, it's always going to be for your own good. It's going to be for your own good. You're going to learn, and then, guys, we are immortal spirits. No disease is going to kill us. It can kill our bodies, but it cannot kill us. The disease is in the matter. It's not in us. We feel it, we suffer it, because we are in the matter. Remember from Kardec, we are in the matter, learn from it. So there's nothing wrong in searching for the cure. Then you come here, the Spiritus Center, seeking for a treatment. Then you take passes. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's one difference. Throughout my years of Spiritism, I met different people. I made several friends, some friends, or many friends that are now in the other side, in the spiritual world, which is very good. This means that if I go there, someone can help me when it's my time to go. At least I have those friends. And several of them, they acquire their diseases. Most of them self-immune diseases, that are the ones that are very hard to cure, because it's our own body fighting itself. And they did their treatments, they did passes, but their bodies were not cured, because that's not the priority of the pass. It doesn't mean that if you come here, nobody's going to care about cure your body. Of course not. We hope to cure everything. But the main thing is the immortal spirit. The main thing is to cure the spirit. If the body perishes, and with it you learn the valuable lesson that you have to learn, that's a cure. That's a cure. We look at the spirit. We don't look just at the body. We all hope that by coming here and getting treatment, we're going to treat our spirit and our body is going to be healed as a consequence. Again, never take science for granted. Your doctor says that you have to take this pill, you have to take this medicine, you do it. Don't do that. Don't do PASS instead of that. You take PASSes adding to that. Always trust the doctors. Always trust them. Of course, if you have doubt about a decision, you can talk to them or seek for another doctor. But what I'm saying is that you always seek for a spiritual treatment, but never take for granted your material treatment of your body. Because that can help that boulder to at least slow down. You may have caused the disease in your body, but now that you're seeking for treatment, material science can help you to remove that in one way or another. So that's also God's law. It's God acting through professionals. We are all instruments of God's will. So I want to go back to this conversation thing that Spinelli told Manuel Filomeno, that useless conversations can cause diseases. Useful conversations can heal. That's why it's never good for us to isolate ourselves. If you're not feeling well, don't isolate. Continue to make friends. Continue to talk to your family. Have good conversation, good gatherings. That's going to make you feel better. So here right now, we are helping each other to heal, because the focus of us being here is because we want to feel better. We want to find the meaning of our incarnation here. We want to be happier, and we are open about it. So this makes this meeting here useful and fruitful to all of us. So we will go home today healthier than when we came here. And if we see Jesus' example in the book Jesus at Home, it's a very nice book, because it's all the chapters, it's Jesus on Simon Peter's house talking to friends. It's all about dinner parties. It's about them talking about the gospel among themselves, among friends. That was Jesus' core. So he did that. That's where his strength comes from. His friends. He was never alone. Chapter after chapter is him talking to the apostles. Many of them, not just the 12. Not just the 12. Many people there. He had many friends. And in one of these situations, there was a woman called Rachel from the city of Cusa. Not in the Bible, not the Rachel in the Bible. And she asked Jesus, and all the apostles were there too, what is the meaning of the pain that we all feel? What is the meaning of this suffering that is part of our our path through all this earth. And then Jesus thought a little and he started, this pain is supposed to wake you up. It's supposed to teach you how to be better. And then the apostles and Rachel, they were puzzled, and I can't. It doesn't make much sense. I still don't understand. And then Jesus goes to his go-to tool. He tells a story. So he used the stories that the parables, so that the simple people could understand the message. And he spoke in terms that they could understand. So then he started talking. He tells a story. Imagine a man, and he's born in this world, and he's given an angel. This angel, it watches over him in every single aspect. When he's born, this angel teaches him to go through his mother to get nourishment, helps him to start walking, to start talking, and then he grows, and then this angel prepares his day every day and watches over him so nothing bad happens to him. So everything is according to a plan to make him happy. So the angel teaches this man a profession. It teaches family values, so that this man now can form a family, can have a profession, can earn his financial means without going through any trouble. So every day the angel would prepare the day, and every night the angel would bless the man to make the man sleep well. So the man was always happy. But then something happened. This man became a leader, and he thought that he was superior to others, and he started treating others with rudeness and superiority and pride. So people that worked for him were not happy people because they were not treated very well. So this man thought that he was superior because of what happened to him. And he saw other people struggling, and he didn't struggle. He was a winner. How many times we see that? Winners and losers. A terrible way of thinking. But this is how this man was thinking. And then the angel was very hurt and said, that's not what I taught you. That's not why I took care of you. And then Jesus said that another angel came, a superior angel, and said to the first, now you stop. You stop what you're doing and leave this man on his own. And then the man start going through frustrations as a consequence of the way that he was treating others. And he started going through illnesses. He got sick for the first time. He went through financial trouble for the first time. He had to, for the first time, to try to solve his problems on his own. And then he found humility. He became humble. It was like life beating up and creating humbleness, like chiseling a rock to make a statue, a sculpture. And he started treating others better. He found that everyone has their value. And then Jesus stopped. He didn't say anything else. He just told this story, and he didn't say anything else. And then Rachel and the apostles understood that all the difficulties that we go through is to amplify our virtues, is to teach us how to be charitable, how to be humble. And all the diseases, they are showing us what has to be changed. And if we understand that and we adapt and we never forget that we are destined to be happy, we are destined to grow and be free of all this, of every suffering. We are not here to suffer. The suffering is a teaching. It's a teaching moment, a teaching opportunity that is showing us how to stop that. If we understand that, as soon as our moment here ends, the disease is gone, the suffering is gone, the problems are gone. And then finally, you can be an active worker of God's will. And then you start helping others who in the past were lost as we were. But then we become helpers. We become the angel that will inspire other people to find the same way that we found. That's our destiny. And that's where we are going for sure. All of us. Okay, thank you guys. That's what I wanted to bring it to you today.
Thank you, Rafael. That was very good, actually, and very connected to the lecture last week. So it's kind of adds to our knowledge quite a bit. Do you have any comments or questions or just any comments or questions here from us? It's very interesting how it puts the responsibility on us, right? Like the book that you brought to us from Manuel Filomeno, where we blame the others, right? And I see this a lot in my works, like, oh, it's the doctor's fault. It's never my fault. You know, I drank for 10, 20 years and I damaged my body, but it's the doctor's treatment that's, you know, is the fault of my problems. And we do that all the time, right?
Actually, I have a comment because I was thinking something similar last week, but I also have to learn and not just see the signs, because there are other sides communicating to us. And if we look back to a time that something that happens to us, we can easily see there were some side of signs before. And just like I should have, and decide to the scenarios. And there's always a communication happening.
Yeah.
And we sometimes choose not to listen to it and pretend that, no, that's just thing that I imagine. Just think that I'm out of sabotage myself or whatever.
Yeah, that's so true. And Spirit's book tells this, right? We always have the good counseling around us, right? And it's up to us if we want to listen to it or not. And it's not even by inspiration, like Rafa brought to us, right? When you're here around through the inspiration and that fluid, right? That comes, that thought that comes. But sometimes they use people around us, and I would say most of the time use people around us, right? I have moments in my life when someone just started like a conversation out of nowhere and said, you know, I have like something to tell, like, and then they give me this counseling, and it's like completely irrelevant to the moment. And some of those things it brings to me, I bring with me until these days. I remember those things when the person told me, you know, I just want to tell you, just give them a kind of, you know, advice to you, right? And it's like, where did it come from, right? So people are putting around us to sometimes bring the message that there is, because since we're not listening here, it's okay, let me maybe if I find someone else, right? And they find people around us, and most of the time that's how the help comes, right? People around us that come and say, yeah, what advice? We say, I know that you know well. No, why did it? You know, but they find always a way for the message to come to us, because they never leave us without help, right? There's always help that comes. But like you brought to us, it's up to us, right? It's always up to us. Do I want to connect? Do I want to connect? Do I want to follow that way, or I just want to keep angry or whatever I'm doing? Right? It's always a choice. So that's why I was kind of a joke that spiritism is. It's very hard. It's very, very hard because he really took away that revengeful God that punishes us to say, no, it's your responsibility. We here co-creators and be responsible, right? So.
Yeah, when he was pointing the COVID time, what was happening, sometimes the situation put you for bad that it is for something good happen after, right? Like as many people lost control and were in hard situation during COVID for isolation, this kind of stuff. This was, speaking for myself, was only then that could realize something's wrong that we're doing, because you are put in a position that is not normal anymore, right?
It was like a big reset
Yeah.
in our routines.
So that's wrong.
Any other comments or questions? No? All right, Rafael, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone that was with us over the internet. We're hoping to see you here next weekend.